Yup, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Yep, that's me a few months back. I hopped in a high horsepower rear-wheel drive race car and it nearly cost me my life. Now, I'm not an 18-year-old that can get in a wreck, fall off a mountain bike, get tackled or laid out in a hockey game and wake up the next day feeling absolutely sunshine and kittens. Recovery has been a glacial process. Now, there's like 3 or 4 people that know me on the internet as a co-host of another YouTube channel. Yeah, I know. My attorney had said that I'm not at liberty to speak about this at all just yet. That's what happens when legal things are thrown at you. Here's a brief explanation of what it costs physically and mentally to crash a race car.
Very expensive. It's not an economical option, to be honest. It doesn't come cheap. It demands a significant allocation of financial resources. It is not just expensive, it is wallet endangering. Cost of this does befit nobility of old.
That being said, you can't crash a race car on a public street and not have ramifications. So, as if that wasn't bad enough, it sure does seem to feel a lot like house arrest around here. And to be sitting at home with a busted up body, so I'm just trying to make the best of it. I've been doing some community service with local trails since I live next to conservation land, and it's helping me slowly recover. And when that does feel too painful, I'd resort to doing lighter things on the body, like playing various instruments. Or just questioning my life's existence. A side quest, I'm tending to chickens, since they are miraculous creatures and only a vegan would argue against that. Come on, no. Why are we gonna do this? Every time. Stop it. I'm also in the process of trying to domesticate 2 raccoons in the backyard. It's strongly preferred that they don't consume the chickens, so a peace treaty has been brokered that they'll be fed this organic puppy chow instead of live hen. They're inherently lazy animals, so this is going pretty swell so far. Well, it's been decided that if I'm going to be limited to a very, very specific radius, and I can't leave it, I might as well do something productive. There's this 18-foot by 14-foot structure that sits on this particular property that I'm confined to, and it's been unused for who knows how long. The cabana, in air quotes, has been
partitioned into 3 distinct spaces, and
it's easier if I just draw it out. No one wants to see your butthole. Here it is. It's been partitioned into 3 distinct spaces. First, it's cut in half completely. And then in this section here, there's a pressure-treated deck of outdoor storage that's covered by part of the roof, and it's for holding gardening tools, landscaping equipment, and various other things and stuff. Then there's this section over here that's full of enough salt to corrode a mid-sized fleet of commercial trucks. The bags and salt and minerals are to tend to the concrete hole that's in the ground that's full of water over there. Finally and thirdly, there's this other 50% of the building that's just lost in the 60s. It has this bar that faces you at a wall of cedar, some 32-inch diameter ceiling fans that only a used car salesman would tell you they blow cold air, and a fridge that's from the Great Depression era. There was also some form of storage here that seemed to mainly be a habitat for small woodland creatures. Hey, little dude.
Look at him. Oh my God, Steven.
And it's a personal mission of mine to relocate these critters safely next to my high school dean's house, who said I wouldn't amount to anything. So I plan to renovate this and make certain that my particular skill sets didn't atrophy like the rest of my life. Here's some footage documenting the process of all its lack of glory and edited rather poorly. Ew. Oh, hey, what up, Brewster? It's the old bar. Nice, solid oak, but dated. So, there's that. The window's good, though. Cedar? Debatable to be able to salvage in a respectable way. Mainly because we've got this dry area here. it's always poo.
Poop again! He called the shit poop!
Ah! Alright, and after tons of screamo, emo music, here's my demo. Yep. Really opens up the space. As you can see, we've had a significant change to the square footage by just dropping the mid-wall. This area was the storage for the pool stuff and salt. This was the outdoor area that was for all the garden shed storage stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of room for activities here. A lot of room for activities. We'll put a exterior door here, get rid of this barn thing, and yep. Carry on with more time-lapse and whatnot. Here we go. Alright, so now I'm going to take all of that plywood and all those 2x4s and repurpose them, you know, in the essence of upcycling for the bar top, where I will be putting the salt, since I didn't need that entire corner of the structure for it. And look at this. Yep, chippity choppity, doing the thing. Look at things and stuff. Measure, think, ponder, place, da-da-da-da. Okay, my old man's going to come over here and yell at me now, so... Alright, Captain's Log. I've crushed all of this pottery up since it was not useful, and it could be useful for a base. This is my PVC with the little outlet 45 that I'm going to be running all of my electrical to from one side to the other. If you come over here, yeah, that was the existing. And I fixed all that. Yeah, I don't mind this OSHA hazard of my outlet. Yeah, we're just going to... You know, less than any port in a storm, right? I needed power, and I didn't want to run an 80-foot extension cord to the house. Oh, look, there's my feet. Only fans? No, nobody wants that. But I always wear sandals, so leave me alone. But yeah, run that power. There's the bar top. Now I've buried that PVC conduit to show all of this wire. So look at that. Now we've got power on the other side of the building. Woo! Alright, so here's my quick and this right over here in the corner is septic, so we're going to leave an access panel for that before we pour our concrete. And I'm not going to film that, nobody wants to see that. Or maybe you do, I don't know. So those are definitely not my feet. That's my old man that didn't want to interact with the camera because he thinks it's lame. This is him in a nutshell.
On, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. What's your guesses in here? Put your foot in there.
Alright. Now we'll just cue the time lapse of my old man yelling at me while we get things done. Alright, we gotta prep this area for the door. This is gonna be great. Look at that. Door prep. Lots of door prep. Moving and shaking. Doing this and that. Dad silently judging me. Wondering, why aren't you a better son? We'll get there one day. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyways, look at that. We got a door in. Just kidding. My dad loves me. I think my dad loves me. He did decide to show up. Maybe because there was nothing better to do. Here we're putting up some LVL beams because real support is what's necessary. You can't just knock out a wall of 2x4s and expect this structure to be safe. And my father is a structural engineer, so he wouldn't have any of that. Neither would I, but, you know, maybe I should say that because I definitely seem like a hazard to life. We've actually reused every bit of 2x4 and plywood from the interior, and we're using it to sheathe the exterior of this part of the cabana. I feel like a real Captain Planet. And in this section, I'm actually repurposing the cedar that was on the original part of the wall that you remember, maybe you don't. This is the pre-existing cedar that people were staring at with the original bar. All right, Captain's Log, it's getting dark, but this is where we're at right now. We've got our bar top in, the back wall in, and the door. Yay, leveled ground. For the most part, I've just time-lapsed everything here because I figure that most people know how to do these things, but I guess that's no reason not to put in my weird commentary or 2 cents. This is what's shaping up for the subfloor that once was, and we've now filled in to be level here so that our passageway is not some weird step up and then step down. That platform only makes sense for in the bar area, which as its standalone 75% of the room, it is its own platform and station, which I kind of like because you've got your bartender that is up at the 36-inch counter height, and then you've got your patrons that are sitting here at the 42-inch counter height. Just nice, you know, it just gives you that kind of feel. In fact, it is absolutely downpouring yet again. This MDF board I actually saved from inside the living room. They had these built-in cabinets that went a little bit too far for having a bigger couch. So I held on to them for a rainy day, like this one. So these will be implemented in the cabinetry that is going to go to the left of the built-ins where the towels and the mixer will go. And I know, hey, it's a rainy one, isn't it? You know, brighter days are coming. Should be outside outside. Plus your birds are outside though. What the heck? Where did they go? It's coming along. It's a disaster in here. I can't stand it. My OCD self cannot stand this looking this way, but you know, we're gonna show the real things and not pretend we're some sort of fancy film set. We're not. But up here you can see my beam. And that back piece of cardboard right there, that's, you know, about 65-inch TV that'll get stuffed in the corner. Oh yeah, here's the real fun part. Hanging drywall. It's probably the least favorite type of thing to do. There are better ways to do this, but when you're motivated and you want to get something done, your old man still cracks the whip at you even though you're technically an adult. You just do it. Pretty sure he can still beat me. So I'm not going to challenge that. Who challenges their maker, right? Come on. This will also talk about the fact that we threw in 6 recessed lights to echo what was on the original bar side. Over here on the back deck area, I've started putting in some cabinetry and the 2 refrigerator and wine cooler, trying to visualize where everything will be. I've got my center island put in that will house all the salt. Then you can see my really janky repurposed cardboard up there that is signifying a 65-inch TV to find the optimum height for it that looks appropriate. So, look at that. I'm trying to figure out the exact dimensions of the plywood here that will be the base for when the quartz countertops come in. Measure 5 times, cut once. You know, that's the old adage. Just because measuring twice doesn't always give you the right things, you should probably do it more than twice. Sometimes you have to blow on that thing like a Nintendo cartridge to get the sludge out. It's boring, but it's part of my life.
It's boring, but it's part of my life.
I've had this antique marble tile laying around for a project like this. It just seemed appropriate that it would happen in here. I'm willing to wager there will be some people in the comments that'll be like, why didn't you use masonry board in the back? We live in a time in society where there's technology, where there's different compounds and blends of mortar that adhere to anything. And I have seen them succeed in the most precarious situations. So I'm sure this will be fine for a cabana. Not hanging anything from it. This isn't a shower. It's gonna be okay. The only water that's getting on this is if somebody decides to pop bottles, have themselves a field day. I'm not gonna be that person though, because I am sober. And now you're seeing in some of this time lapse, this is my Padawan Brian. He was my former next door neighbor, and now he's grown up into a just capable young man who loves to do stuff. He came to bail me out one evening because he's been doing mudding professionally for a company for a minute, so he's far more spectacular than I am. I know, these dad jokes are just trash. Oh, hey, what are you doing here, little dude? Come back. Huh. Oh, he's gonna do it. Yeah, there he goes. I gotta bring him to my dean's house. Alright, so that seems to be enough for this week, since statistically your ADHD has kicked in by now. Maybe not. Maybe that's offensive. Go ahead, please complain about it in the comments, since that's how the algorithm works. Or at least we think it does. But really, I do hope you have an exceptional day. May the sun shine upon you. Unless you live 200 miles or so above the Arctic Circle, then it won't.